It's time for the marathon. We're exploring the Labyrinthian, as well as all the adjacent sections and dungeons as part of it. This area can be approached from the north or the south, and it's pretty obvious on the map, either north of Whiterun or southeast of Morthal. Approaching from the north section, there will be a random spawn as we move up the stairs. We got a nice friendly giant this time. The main section of the Labyrinthian can only be explored during the Staff of Magnus quest from the College of Winterhold. If you want to explore this entire area in one go, make sure you've made it up to that quest and have the necessary quest item, the Torque of the Labyrinthian, in your inventory. It's also wise to have all the Dragon Priest masks from the base game if you want to do this all in one go. Before we start exploring, let's go troll hunting. There will be 4 trolls in this exterior area, and they're always in a pretty similar spot no matter which side you approach from, the north or south. It's also very common that you'll aggro the other trolls as you fight, so you don't need to worry about exploring and hunting them too much, they'll come to you. That makes 2, and here comes number 3. These 3 trolls are all usually pretty close together in the north section, and by the south entrance we'll find the last troll. Sometimes the random spawns can actually kind of help, as giants will aggro the trolls, as well as any other random spawn that makes it to the center of the Labyrinthian. Heading back to the north entrance, let's start exploring. There's only a couple of chests and a couple urns, and not too much else here on the exterior section. Just to the left of the entrance, we'll find a chest very close to where one troll was. Before heading up the main stairs, we're going to head to the right and explore the wall. Nothing in those huts. As we climb the wall, we can check to the left and head down the path, which just has a single urn at the end of it. Heading right, there will be a bow on a little overwatch. We're going to keep heading right, and eventually come to a wall. Down beneath us, there will be a chest. It's a safe drop, and after you grab this chest, the path will lead back to the entrance where we started. Moving forward, we're going to go into Lost Valkygg. This is its own dungeon and technically isn't part of the Labyrinthian, but it's inside the whole complex. You can actually enter its exit door, but you'll be sealed off from most of the dungeon. Let's head into the main entrance. Lost Valkygg is very short, very simple. The first little room we'll come to has a window looking at 2 waking Draugr that you can use arrows or magic or shouts to hit them through. Next up will be a door that's very bugged. Sometimes it's open, sometimes it's not. If those wooden stakes are up, just run along these pressure plates and you'll get through. The next corridor has a little potion and some alchemy ingredients, and not too much else. As we progress, we'll come up to those 2 Draugr who were on the table before. For notable loot in the room, There's a helmet, as well as some bone meal. Besides that, there's some... Where's the loot? Shelves that are all empty. Very satisfying. Anyways, let's move on. There will be a couple urns and a couple barrels throughout the dungeon. The next big room we come to will have a Draugr that pops out behind us. Besides this one, there will be 2 more waiting for us. We find an alchemy bench inside this room, as well as a couple urns around the edges. Moving through an open doorway, there will be some shelves with some boots and an urn on them, as well as a gate with a lever. Throwing the lever, we'll find a poor soul who was trying to read a skill book in lockpicking. He also had a satchel and a potato. Lovely. If only he read the book. Moving on through the dungeon, we're going to jump on this Draugr who tends to pop out whether you go right or left. I see ya. Moving to the left area, there will be a dead Draugr and a pressure plate. The plate has a pretty hard to dodge dart trap, so be very careful. It'll be in front of a locked gate, which has a helmet and 2 urns behind it. Just be mindful of the plate, because it can rearm and attack again. Moving forward, we'll find a few more urns and some alchemy ingredients. There will also be a chest in front of a hole, and a little back room that the patrolling Draugr will sometimes go into. Sometimes he's here, sometimes he's near the hole. He likes to get around. Inside this back room, there's also a boss chest. Once we've grabbed both chests, we can head down the hole and use the piles of wood to break our fall. As we reach the bottom, we have to be ready for another fight. After taking care of the Draugr, we can explore where we landed and find 2 healing potions. Sometimes they're in the urns, sometimes they're on the ground. If they get shouted at, they could be anywhere. Besides this, there will be a chest that can be jumped to easily. With that, Lost Valkygg is completed. There will be a couple urns here and there on the exterior of the Labyrinthian, but not too much else. We have the main stairway up to the main dungeon. And we have a little barrow, which will be used at the end of all of this exploring. Just to the left of the barrow is the entrance to Shalidor's maze. Besides this, there's a couple more urns up near the other entrance, but here we'll find a locked chest and an urn. It's time to go in the maze. The first thing you'll notice in here is my 1080 struggling to draw on the environment in the background. Besides that, there will be a garden with some alchemy ingredients, and some stairs up to a higher section where you can look down on the maze. You don't really need to study it from above, because there's no split paths and it's not really a maze. Doing some parkour to the left, we can walk along this upper section and find a little bit of loot. You can start on the right section if you use Whirlwind Sprint, but can reach both sections from the left without it. On the left, there will be a chest. We'll be walking over a dragon word wall, and if you get stuck near the top, just do a little hop. You'll be fine. Coming around the right side, about the same area where the chest is on the left, there will be a skeleton with a weapon and a shield. Once we've grabbed that, we're ready to go to the entrance of the maze. The entrance will have 4 staffs, as well as a burnt corpse, a soul gem, and a little note. The note kind of tells you the order of a little puzzle the maze has, but it's not too complex. If you don't know certain spells, go ahead and grab all 4 staves. Before entering the maze, we're going to take a walk around the side of it. There will be plenty of alchemy ingredients on both sides. Around the back is also the word wall we saw earlier. It's just that easy. Once we learn the word for dismay, we can head back around to the beginning of the maze. Don't worry if you see any enemies aggroed to you inside the maze, they can't get out. As we enter the maze, we'll see a sigil for alteration. There are some shutters nearby that have some loot, including a scroll of mage light, which we can use to hit the sigil. We're just going to use those staves we got before, and take out the staff of mage light. Charge a shot, hit the sigil, and the gate will open. I hope everyone enjoys walking in tight corridors. There will be these shutters along the way that kind of have crappy loot in them. As you move through the maze, there will be better and better loot. Also, skeevers. If you've never been in the maze before, go ahead and just open all the shutters if you're a little loot goblin and just want to grab everything. But there's not too much you're missing out on if you just run through. Anyone need charcoal? Like I mentioned before, there's really no split paths in this, so you can't call it a maze. Just keep going forward, and if you ever get turned around, don't worry, you can just turn right around at the entrance and start again. So much walking. Let's see what we got. Oh, thanks. We're gonna close you. This section of the Labyrinthian will probably be one of the more boring for a lot of people, as it's just walking forward fighting some skeevers. I'm awake. I'm awake. Here we have the Sigil of Destruction. Let's hit it with a firebolt. Once you've opened the trapdoor, you can hop down and land on some logs. Through that, we'll see a Sigil of Conjuration, and not much else. There will be a staircase that takes us back up to the beginning of the maze, and we can actually loop around to the back where there's a second entrance that we can now enter. Time to do all of that walking again. If you haven't grabbed the word wall, go ahead and grab it now. And here we have the Sigil of Illusion. Once again, we'll go take out our Staff of Fear and open the maze up. Similar to the other side, you'll want to open up any shutters if you want to check for loot, as there will be some better loot on this side than the first. Just be mindful of the skeevers. Better loot. I promise, it's coming. Marginally better. There we go. Some gems. The Amethyst, Garnet, and Emerald is probably the most valuable shutter you can open. Be careful of jump scares from floating cold skeevers. If this guy got lost, he deserves to die. This skeleton does have a skill book for conjuration, so check it out if you need the book. Looping through, we'll have a skill book inside one of the shutters for Heal Other, as well as the Sigil of Restoration. But we're going to use the Staff of Repulsion to activate it. As you drop through, prepare for a fight. There will be a bubble that takes us to a conjuration arena, and for the love of God, don't just brute force the enemy in one hit. As you spawn in, there will be a Dremora and some Atronachs. Hitting the Dremora once will take you back to the beginning of the maze. You don't want to kill him in one shot, or you'll be transported back without the Dremora and not be able to loot him. He'll always summon 2 Atronachs as well, from fire to storm randomly, and they won't die when he does, so be ready to take them out. On the Dremora's body, you'll find a Daedra heart and a Diadem of the Savant, which reduces all spell costs by 5%. Again, if you take out the Dremora in the arena and get teleported back without his body, it's pretty easy to load because it autosaves as you enter the arena. With that, Shalidor's maze is done. Now that we've completed Lost Valkygg, In Shalidor's maze, we're ready to go into the main dungeon of the Labyrinthian. As you head up the stairs, you might see some urns, but not much else. Just remember to enter here, you need to be pretty far in the College of Winterhold questline. As we approach the main door, we'll find Savos Aaron, as well as some spectral images of some followers that he has, showing that he's been in this dungeon before. Approach the door and activate it, and the Torque of the Labyrinthian will activate. Inside, we have a welcome party of skeletons. There will be a sword, a mace, and a shield lying around, but not too much else in the heap of skeletons. This dungeon has a couple of urns around the edges, so be sure to check rooms if you need them. And here we see their party of 6, discussing something I don't care about. On a table nearby, there will be a potion and an advanced spell tome. Be sure to check for any additional urns, and head through the doors. 6 college-trained mages, or 1 iron armor user. Similar to Lost Valkygg, there will be alchemy ingredients and urns all around this dungeon, so just keep an eye out for them. It would take a lot of time to point every single one out, so we're not going to. Through this gate, we can see a horde of skeletons. Activating the lever will open the gate, but it'll drop behind you right away. Let's take them on. Oh. Oh dear. No, no. If you need to run, there's a lever right next to the door that opens it, and then drops the gate. Skeletons can make it through this gate, but the dragon cannot. It's go time. There's a huge mix of skeletons here, from melee to magic to range, but the skeletons themselves are pretty weak and not too tanky. If you can take down the dragon quickly, I recommend focusing on that. If not, try to take out the skeletons and retreat back through the gate if you need to. Once the skeletons are taken care of, you can check out the dragon corpse, which has some additional bones compared to regular dragons, but no soul. Again, the exterior of the room has a decent amount of urns, so if you want every last penny in here, comb the room and hug the walls. Moving on through the mound, we'll leave this battle arena and head down some stairs. We'll find our ghostly party down a member. I miss Gerduin.
It's too late. There isn't enough of him left.
We're gonna ignore these guys and move down to the Labyrinthian Chasm. Inside the chasm, there will be some immediate loot. To the left, there will be a trio of urns in a cave-in, and to the right, it may just look like junk, but opposite from it is a chest. As you move forward, the Dragon Priest Morokei will speak to us and drain our mana. A frost spirit will spawn as it comes through the door, and there will be a Draugr as well that we need to take care of that doesn't usually wake up. We can see that there's the cave-in with urns, as well as some more alchemy ingredients. How do we get through the frost door? We have the spell tome for flames. Ugh. Well, we have the staff. Hit the door with a fire spell, and it will come open. If you are a magic user, be careful, because Morokei will keep talking to us and keep draining our mana. This next room will be a pretty large chasm, and has 2 Draugr that immediately fight us. Heading down the chasm is progression, but before that, there's this little left path we can take. There will be another Draugr waiting, as well as a coffin with a sword and a helmet. Moving forward, there's a door with a rune, which requires finesse to open. Past the door, a Draugr. Inside this little room, there will be a chest, an enchanter's table with a soul gem, and the spell of equilibrium, which changes health to magic, and a novice conjurer corpse, which, even though it's a skeleton, still has the conjurer robe, which is nice. There's also an alchemy table with a couple ingredients around. If you need to make any potions, or disenchant or enchant anything, this is your chance. Heading all the way back to the main chasm, we can start heading down. Thank you, Morokei. We can actually drop all the way down and work our way back up, or head across this stone bridge. More ingredients and more urns. In this next room, I'd like to point out 2 potions. They won't be there for long. This large room will have 2 Draugr inside of it, and sometimes a 3rd can come in from the chasm, but usually not. Gone are the potions. To our left we'll find a deer hide, which covers some gold ore. Moving forward to where the Draugr were, we can jump up the rubble to find some more gold ore, as well as some urns. This urn on the table has a ring. There's a nice gold sapphire ring here. It can get shouted pretty easily though, but be sure to check out the table to see if it's still there. Down below, we'll find a soul gem, and a lot of junk. There's some bone meal and some alchemy ingredients, but not too much else of value. There's the potion. As we come out near a river, there will be a ledge to the right that we can actually climb. There will be an Argonian with a sword through it, a coin purse, and a chest. This is pretty easy to miss because it doesn't really look like you can climb the ledge. Before moving on through the doors of progression, let's head back to the chasm. There's usually one more Draugr around here, and we're gonna find him. As I mentioned before, you can head down this way, down the ramps, or just kind of jump down. It looks like it's pretty confusing here, but it's actually a really straightforward section. If you fall down or get shouted down, you can come up the ramps out there, or work your way back through the doors. As we approach the iron door, Morokei will drain our mana again, but let's head through to the Thoroughfare. Inside this first room, we'll find a skeleton and a Draugr. There will be a split path to the right and to the left through a gate, and they lead to the same area, but let's head to the right to take out a skeleton first. We'll find some urns and alchemy ingredients as usual, as well as 4 malachite ores floating in some water nearby. let's head back to the left path through the gate to get some more loot. There will be a novice lock that can be easily opened, and just at our feet, we'll find some more gold ore. Moving through this passageway, we'll find a pair of chests and a pair of urns. And now we're linked up to where the right path was. Moving into the next arena, we'll be greeted by a troll. Just to the left of the stairs in this room, there will be a skeleton, as well as a chest. We can approach some barred windows and take a peek at what's ahead. A gate and a stone bridge. As usual, be on the lookout for any urns along the way. Okay, Dad. Just to the left here, we're going to be able to drop down and fight two skeletons guarding some gold ore. There will be two veins, with one on the side of the rocks and one in the ground. The one in the ground isn't always reachable, even if you crouch. If there's a specific spot you need, I haven't found it, and I don't really mind too much. We've got a lot of gold ore. As we move forward, there will be two skeletons trying to range us down. Normally we don't have ranged weapons, but we still have that Staff of Firebolts. Big damage. Big damage. What? Just... Let me at him. Let me at him. There will be a lever that opens this gate. Ruthless aggression. Whether you range them down or charge in like a Neanderthal, you're ready to now head across the stone bridge, where there's another troll. Once you take down one, you'll find a second one. The room will be full of ingredients, so be sure to pick a bunch if you need them. There will also be a chest and some urns. Now that we've cleared that area, as well as the gold behind us, we're ready to move forward. Grab a couple urns along the way, and head up the stairs where the wall skeletons were. Here we'll find a chest, and a potion of damaging magicka. Once we've grabbed that, we find 3 wisps. As you fight the wisps, the Wisp Mother will appear on a ledge above. After taking care of the Wisp Mother and her babies, there will be a chest on the ledge she appeared on all the way to the left. There's also a bunch of coffins, only some of which are lootable, but compared to other coffins in the game, these actually tend to have a little bit of loot. Just like the frost door before, we'll find a fire door. There will be a spell tome for frostbite, and 2 scrolls for ice spike. Instead of making the same joke of throwing the book at the door, let's get this over with. Urns. As we see that the ghostly troop is down to 4,
Where's Elvely?
we can find some whitecap in this room, and not too much else. And actually, as you move through, you'll usually aggro the next enemies through this area. That'll be a skeleton, and some spectral draugr. The draugr are actually kind of unique here, because they have spectral weapons that drain your stamina or magic, depending on if they're melee or archers. We have a trapdoor that doesn't open when we walk on it, but we can force open. If you land on the wooden plank and drop below, you can actually skip a lot of this area. But let's explore it. Besides the draugr, there will be a spectral puppers. He has ectoplasm. As we move through, there will be a draugr that pops out at us, and has a skeleton and a spectral archer waiting for us. Checking this room out for loot, we'll find a soul gem, and a gold ingot. There's also a little ledge we can jump to, and it's easier to reach this than you might think. There will be some urns, as well as some linen wraps, that are covering up 2 pieces of gold ore. Checking out the archer, we see that his bow drains magic. The next room at the bottom of the trapdoor will have 2 more spectral draugr. And just be on the lookout, because Morokei might drain your magic without you realizing it, since his dialogue doesn't always trigger. As you can see, this is the room at the bottom of the trapdoor. It has progression nearby, as well as a couple urns, and a dead troll. Awesome. Now, we're ready to go to the Tribune. The Tribune will be the last section of the Labyrinthian, and will have 2 more spectral draugr and a spectral dog to welcome us. Past these draugr, there will be some barrels, a chest, and a spell tome for a ward. Is that why it thinks we need the ward? A little soul gem trap? Jesus! One sec. Before moving through this death trap, there will be a basket to our left that we can tip over into a brazier, where we can find some iron ingots, some magic potions, some wine, and a potion of resist magic, which any smart person would grab. To the left will be a frostbite trap, and a frostbite rune, which we don't really care about. Remember your training. If you have the health to tank through this, or some way to knock those gems down, go ahead and do it. This is a pretty deadly area. Once you're past the soul gem traps, we'll find ourselves in this large room with another dog and another draugr who usually summons an atronach. Besides this threat, we can climb the tower and find 2 more spectral Draugr. Let's check out the tower. There will be urns and barrels with food and alchemy ingredients, as well as a chest on this first floor. Moving up, another chest. At the bottom of this area, there will be a little pool of water. It may seem shallow, but it gets deep fast, and has 2 pieces of malachite ore and a gold ore. There's also a skeleton that's kind of reaching for a gold diamond ring, and I could not get this ring under any circumstance. Shouting it just loses it in the water. Maybe you'll have better luck. But you can't really reach this ring, and you can't drag any item on it, and trying to do so will show you why. The wall kind of pushes you up, and it's just really hard to grab. If you grab it, congratulations, you got it. Morokei doesn't want to talk to us, but we find a skeleton with a dagger through its chest, and a locked gate to our left. Inside this gate, we'll find a potion on one side, and a shield on the other, as well as a sword that has a fire enchantment, and a pretty unique helmet that has flame resistance. Moving down the right side, progression. There will be a throne in front of a word wall that has a Draugr and another spectral doggo. Once you take care of the threat, head to the word wall. 2 word walls in 1 dungeon. Oh me, oh my. With the slow time word, we see a corridor as well as some rocks to our right. Climbing the rocks, there will be a skeleton who has a necklace that we can loot. Heading down the corridor, violence. There will be 2 Draugr and 2 skeletons in this little area. You might see or hear that we're down to a trio of spectral explorers, and we don't really mind what they're doing. In this corridor, there are some ebony ingots along the walls on both sides, as well as some salt and fun little alchemy ingredients. Looping back into the throne room where we were, there will be a chest behind a tree. Once we have all the loot we need, we'll go check out this room now that the spectral trio is out. There will be a soul gem, an urn, some poison, and some more junk. Heading down a foreboding corridor, we'll find the Dragon Priest Morokei, who's currently being imprisoned by 2 of the spectral wizards from before. Before heading up to the wizards, check out the waterfall and the pool of water. Surprise! Fish? There will be a slaughterfish and a bunch of slaughterfish eggs. There will be some nests and a bunch of loose eggs, as well as a chest. Once the chest is looted, head over and take out the wizards trying to imprison Morokei. Just hitting them will stop their imprisonment, but you'll want to go ahead and release them from their duty, and go ahead and kill them. As you take out the second one, be ready, because Morokei will be released, although he does take his sweet time going on the offensive. Once Morokei is taken care of, you can loot his body or his ash pile for his titular mask, as well as the Staff of Magnus, which we need for the quest. Head up all the stairs in the room, and the exit awaits. There will be a large chest, as well as a smaller one behind you near the stairs. Going through the double doors, we'll see Savos Aran is the one who enthralled the wizards to keep the Dragon Priest at bay. And congratulations, buddy. Once again, urns and ingredients. There will be a gate with a lever, and as you pull it, a Thalmor agent will appear. He'll just kind of stand there till you approach, so you can range him down early, or approach and talk.
So, you made it out of there alive. I'm afraid I'll have to take that
Is this going to be a whole thing?
Personal. I'm afraid you do.
Oh, no. It's not. Once the mage is taken care of, there will be some barrels and a chest to our left, as well as a necklace to our right. Besides this, there will be a couple urns and nothing else. We'll head up some stairs and open a door that bars the exit, with a knapsack and a skeleton and the ladder out of here. You think we're done? Oh no. Remember that barrow from before? If you've got all 8 Dragon Priest masks from the base game, you can head inside this barrow. If you don't have them with you, fast travel out, collect them, and come back. Heading inside the barrow, we'll find a skeleton with a dagger through its chest, a note from some thugs explaining the lore of this place, and a wooden mask. Go ahead and pick up the mask and equip it inside this room. Equipping the mask in this room will teleport us to the past. Using it outside the room doesn't do any good, and you can't just walk into the room. You have to equip it while in to get teleported. All the urns and chests in here are empty, and you can't leave. If you have the masks you need, though, activate all 8 Dragon Priest mask busts and place the masks on them. When all 8 are down, a 9th mask will show, Konahrik's. This is the last Dragon Priest mask from the base game, and once you take his mask, be sure to collect the other 8 before you leave. With that, we have every Dragon Priest mask in the base game. To leave, simply go to your inventory and take off the wooden mask, and you'll be teleported back. Once you clear out all 4 sections of this area and get the final Dragon Priest mask, the Labyrinthian and all base game Dragon Priest masks are complete.